Hey everybody, what's up? It's Pete. It is Tuesday afternoon. Normally just do the stocks for breakfast. We're popping in with something super interesting that's happening today, as well as it's actually a comment from somebody in this morning's stocks for breakfast video. So what I'm going to talk about now is this is kind of a stock trading for beginners type of thing. Many traders use the VIX, the volatility index, as a directional bias to determine if you want to be long or short your stock. So essentially the way it works is that if the VIX is rising, fear comes into the market and you would expect stocks to go lower. And if the VIX is declining, as it was for a long time, for a couple of years actually, it was kind of declining, and if not just going sideways and not really moving in those low areas, the stock market was continuing just to grind higher. What we have going on in the market today, I think, is a really good lesson, a really good basic lesson in, do you trade your stock or do you trade the index? Because the indicator, excuse me. Right now, the VIX in the market is not doing what it's supposed to. So it's actually kind of an interesting thing. So I'm going to go to the charts. We're going to pull up the VIX. We're going to pull up the SPY, see what the problem is, why it's not working perfectly right now, and then exactly how we're going to trade it into the afternoon. So right now it's around 1:30 in the afternoon on March 24th, 2020. So we're going to go straight to the charts. Let me pull them up right now. And so you can see what we have going on here. First, I'm going to get to the SPY. And the SPY, you can see, is just in a slow grinding move up during the day, right? So big gap higher. Let's put that in perspective, right? So in case you watch this video a couple of months from now. Big gap higher. We're in the middle of the bearish downtrend from the global pandemic that's going on. So put it into context, the market gapped higher, the SPY gapped higher, and continued to trade higher. So what we're going to do now, what should be happening right now, would be the VIX would be trading lower. But as of right now, you can see the VIX was actually trading higher. So there's a good question posted today. What am I supposed to do? What normally makes sense is not happening right now. So I'm going to come back to the screen for a second before we go back out to the chart. So the most important thing here to always remember is you have a lot of other stuff that you could be putting into the chart itself, or I should say into your trading decision. Focus mostly on your stock, whatever that is, whatever that security is you're trading. Obviously, Stock Trading Pro, we're talking about stocks here. All of the other stuff, the VIX, the tick, any other indicators that you might use, advanced decline index, those are secondary indicators that could potentially tell you what might be happening next. But in the context here, it's mostly to have confirmation in what you're seeing in your stock chart. But in this case, that's not actually happening. There's a disconnect, is what we might call it, right? Some of those old Wall Street things that are supposed to happen all the time, we have a disconnect. So the question that comes in is, what are you supposed to do? So the first part of the answer is focus on what your stock is doing. The indicator is a secondary indicator. But what I'm going to talk about now is what I'm looking to have happen this afternoon and how that's going to translate into trades for this afternoon. So I'm going to go back to the chart of the VIX first. So you can see we have this beautiful uptrend here in the VIX, which should be going down, but it's not. So again, pay attention to what is happening, not what you want to see. What we have is we have an uptrend here and we have a new high. So essentially what's going on here is, and this is actually the proper way to draw trend lines. You have a area where the price action broke. In this case, it didn't actually break, but that's the new trend line, right? So if we really wanted to draw this properly, this would actually go here from this low, not going through any other prices, and this is where the trend line broke. So we're essentially in this box now, and what this is called a potential change of trend. So should the VIX break down out of this range, we would expect a much more significant push to the upside in the afternoon and maybe even hold into the close. Should the VIX actually break higher and push through the highs, then I would actually expect stocks to roll over and I'd move up my trailing stop. So you can see how what's going on in the VIX is going to, now that it's sideways, give us a, what's the word I'm looking for? Structure for what we're looking to see happen in the afternoon. So again, it's not doing what it's supposed to, but as traders, we have to know what we're going to do next no matter what happens. It's what's probably going to happen and what we're definitely going to do. So map this out for yourself. It's a 5-minute chart of the VIX. Draw the little trend line in the box like I did now. If the VIX actually should take off and make new highs this late in the day after a big move and the big stuff that's going on in the market, VIX takes out new highs, we'll probably roll over in the market, and that would be an indicator to, or a sign, or signal, whatever you want to use, to move up your trailing stops and lock in any intraday profits that you might have. If the VIX rolls over and breaks this trend line, we can then expect the market to close strong into the close. Maybe you could squeeze some extra profits into the day. So a little bit of a stock trading for beginner lesson there, but a kind of a cool one because it's pretty simple to implement. You're just matching the time frames there. So have a great afternoon, everybody. If you have any comments about this video, please leave it below the video. If you haven't subscribed, that would be awesome too.